Neacsu at Real Talks, and before the next episode starts, just want to give an answer to a lot of people who are asking me, what software do I use to create my podcast? And the platform that I use is Anchor.fm. It's absolutely free. It has a huge reach, so it'll actually reach out to Apple, it'll reach out to Google, and it'll reach out to Spotify and other platforms. So those platforms pick up your podcast, so you have maximum exposure to anybody who is interested in listening to your podcast. As well, if you're absolutely lucky, there will be companies that will reach out to you and might want to sponsor your podcast. You might get paid for something that you love to do. So if you are interested in starting your own podcast, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. And here we go to the next episode, and thank you for your time. Welcome to Real Talks, the Realtor Life. This is where we talk to real agents about their story and their journey in real estate. We'll discuss their beginnings, their struggles, and their ultimate successes. We peel back the layers and deliver a behind-the-scenes conversation that you, the listener, can find inspiration. My name is Nick Neacsu. My intention is to share the authentic realtor life. Hi everyone, this is Nick Neacsu with Real Talks, the Realtor Life, and I'm here with Ty Corsie.
Hey Nick.
How's it going? It's a pleasure to have you on the show, and you are in high demand for my listeners to listen to your story. So we're gonna dive right in to who you are and what sort of fuels your business. But first, Ty, introduce yourself to everybody.
For sure, Nick. Okay, thanks for having me. I'm humbled that you asked me to be on your podcast. Ty Corsie. I'm with Valley Pacific Realty here in the Fraser Valley, in Cloverdale, Langley area. That's where my office is. Been in the business for 15 years. Started back in 2003 at the fresh age of 19. And here I am today, 15 years later, still plugging away and loving it.
Yeah, you are not just plugging away. You're everywhere, online, offline, mailers. It's actually quite awesome to watch. I look up to you. People in my office look up to you, and they recognize the hard work and success that you have. So tell us about the market that you work in. What's your bread and butter?
Yeah, bread and butter for me has to be townhouses and condos, mostly townhouses, that middle range townhouses, everything from 500 to 700,000. That is the absolute bread and butter. That is the new home for new families that are in this market right now, which our prices in the Fraser Valley got fairly high. So that bread and butter, 500 to 700 is absolutely perfect. And I love to work that market because everybody that buys is excited to buy.
Right. And you're having fun doing it too. That's the really neat thing about what you do. You show everybody what you do, behind the scenes as well. You're always smiling. You're always, you have a positive attitude and mindset. And I see that. And is that how you've always been?
All the time, Nick. When you get up in the morning, if you don't love what you do, why do you do it, right? So for me, real estate, little background on real estate, my dad is a realtor. He's been in the business for 40 years. So in terms of why I got into the business, it would have to be my dad. So He brought me into the business. Dad's always been a type of guy where he's happy with 1 or 2 deals a month. I decided that was going to change. And I definitely reamped the business. I redid all the branding. And from there, it just absolutely took off. And now that Dad is pretty much semi-retired, he's just my go-to guy for picking up keys, open up doors, and that sort of thing. But waking up every morning with a smile on my face, loving what you do, it's so important in life. Life is too short not to love what you do. And this business is what's not to love. I mean, I get to work with people every day and sell real estate.
Right. So when you were 19 and your dad was he in the pinnacle of his career?
Yeah, probably 19. Dad would have been right around that time. He probably would have been about early 40s.
Yeah.
Selling as much as he would sell in a year. Like I said, for Dad, it was 1 or 2 houses, weekends off, no open houses. It was a pretty lazy, laid-back realtor at the time. I knew that at 19 I would have to do something a little bit different in order to stand out. It's very difficult at 19 years old to sell a piece of property. My very first piece of property, I went in for sale by owner, knocked on the door, got the listing. I came outside, I went to put my sign in the ground with a hammer, and a guy drove up and I wrote the deal in the hood of my truck. That was the very first deal I ever did. I double-ended it, which You're not allowed to do now, but right. I double-ended it at the time. And I looked at Dad and I said, I love this business, and I never looked back.
Wow. So did you find it was
than easy at the beginning for you?
There's absolutely no doubt that at 19 years old, for the first 2 to 3 years, it was very difficult. So what I did is I specialized in a certain product. And for me, it was condos. Okay. I became the condo expert. I picked 4 buildings in an area that I lived and worked, and I hammered those buildings. I would hit them every 10 days with a mailer, and I became the expert in those 3 buildings. I worked 1-bedroom condos. I worked 2-bedroom condos. Everybody buying those condos, they were my age. They were 20.
Right.
So we could work. We were on the same wavelength. And at the same time, those buildings I became the expert in. People called me. In one building, it's called the Highlands in Surrey at 72nd Scott Road. We renamed it to Thailands after I sold 22 units in 1 year in that building. And from there, I just kept rolling with it. I moved from condos to townhouses and then eventually to my farming area.
Right. And that farming area is what now?
Currently, it's Sullivan Panorama. It encumbers about 8,000 homes, of which I hit every single Monday. My Monday mail out, which you see on my Instagram, is I don't know why it's a little bit catchy with a lot of people now, but every single Monday I drop off 8,000 mailouts to the same farm area 52 times a year.
Holy cow. And you're at the print shop every Monday?
I'm there picking up every Monday. Dropping off every Monday or Tuesday. With mailouts, I know probably there's a bunch of realtors that will listen into this podcast. I cannot stress the importance. If you're going to do mailouts, keep it consistent. When I first started at 19, I went to a lot of sales conferences and I learned on marketing and mailouts and what works, what doesn't work. I tested a lot. I track numbers. I'm a numbers guy. If you don't keep it consistent, you're just throwing money away. They call it the power of 5 with mailouts. And trust me, this works. If you send 5 mailouts out, the first 3, they go straight in the garbage. Number 4 gets noticed and number 5 gets a phone call. If you stick with that program and stick with it, you will definitely get noticed and get calls, but you got to be consistent.
So the power of 5 is your 5th mailer with recognizable branding will eventually lead to probably your first lead. So 5. So
Absolutely.
If you're doing it, well, does it make a difference if you're doing it once a month or once every week? Will that be consistent?
I think if you were just starting out in the mail-out program, obviously you don't want to scale as large.
Right.
So I started with 800 houses.
Right.
Those 800 houses would get something consistently. It wasn't until about that 5th or 6th mail-out until I started to see results. So if you're out there sending out one here, one there, once in a while, you might as well just throw your money in the garbage. It's not going to work.
Right.
So keeping it consistent is so key when it comes to mail-outs. And not a lot of guys do mail-outs right now because it's expensive. But if you keep it consistent, you'll absolutely crush it.
So you're finding right now in this market that the mailboxes aren't as full because the market's a little bit weaker.
Market is a little bit softer. When it comes to marketing for me, I like to do a little bit of everything. So as we transition more to online now, more of my stuff will be going more online. I'm a guy that does have a couple bus benches. I'm a guy that does have a couple ads here and there. I like to be everywhere a little bit. I find that's a lot more powerful than having 27 garbage cans.
Right.
I like to spread it around.
Right. Well, that makes sense. Yeah. So you're basically in your farm area a little bit here and there, so they notice you in different types of media, and then they recognize your name or face. Right. That's amazing. So when you first started off, I'm going to bring it back. I want to sort of figure out, you went from 19 to selling 22 units in one building, but like who taught you the skill sets that created your foundation to sort of build off and create that empire? You mentioned going to a conference, learning, but did you have a mentor? Was your dad your mentor?
For me, Dad taught me the bones of the business. And when I say bones, I mean being honest. If I was to give one piece of advice in this business and starting out in any sales business, it would be as honest as you could ever be. Because if you're honest with people, it'll come back tenfold when you lose a listing, when you don't get a deal, when you don't get upset, you don't burn a bridge. If you're just honest with somebody, business will come back. Right. So that's sort of, Dad taught me the ropes of the bones of the business. When it came down to actually building the business and the structure, it would be reading books, going to every single conference. I would never miss a conference real estate related. I would go to everyone.
Right.
I don't care how much it would cost. If I could come out of there and learn one little piece, it was worth every cent.
Right.
So for me, that was worth it. Right?
Did you have a mentor though, like outside your dad in the business, and somebody who you asked questions to, looked up to, somebody who was absolutely,
Yeah, there are a couple guys that are retired now, but at the time I did look up to them. A couple guys that were with Home Life. Rob Drysdale was one of them. I don't know if Rob will listen to this, but Rob was a Home Life Titus Delta guy when Delta at Home Life Titus was around. And he taught a lot about customer service to me back in the business. So I learned a lot from Rob Drysdale. I, of course, watch the high producer guys, and I try to pick up a little bit of each of what they do. Even though I don't do the volume that a high production guy does, picking up a little piece of what they do to try to learn from my business and grow my business is worth every cent.
So you were a sponge of knowledge. You were picking up pieces from here and there, from your dad, from reading conferences, certain things that other people were doing, and you're creating Corsie.
I've been so driven from such a young age, right? At 13 years old, I had 19 lawns in my neighborhood I was cutting, and that's how I started business. I just love to work.
Right.
I love to work. I love to get up and work hard and work for $1, right? And nowadays people just sit back and have such high expectations of everything that they do. To get up and be self-employed and have that fire under you every day, it is hard. It is so hard.
Right.
So creating new content and creating new ideas, my mind never stops. I'm always thinking about it. Every single night I'm thinking about stuff, and I know you do too.
A new video, a new angle.
New content. We'll talk after about online content and video content for you guys out there that don't do video. I tell you, if you don't do video over the next 12 months, you will be crushed.
Yeah. I completely agree.
Yeah.
And innovative video as well. I mean, and when you were starting your video content, were you kind of nervous around the camera and not sure about your angles or your tone, and then eventually you just don't give right? And you just do your personality shines afterwards.
I think that's it. I think if people see and hear you all the time, they'll know who you are already. Yeah. And that's so important for video guys. If you're not doing video, for me, I have one up on all of you if I'm up against you in a market evaluation, because the people already know who I am coming in the door.
Right.
It's so important just to be you on camera and deliver content which the audience can learn from. Okay.
Right.
They can't learn from a video of you doing 39 sales this week. That has absolutely no power and impact to anybody out there.
Right.
But if you do a video on the importance of the legalization of cannabis that just came into play and how that affects the real estate industry. I had so many messages yesterday on just a couple of quick tips, but it's content that the audience can learn from.
Exactly.
So keep it.
So I find, and you agree or disagree with me, it's the information that you deliver, and then 2 is keeping their attention. So what made you jump into a pool with your suit?
It's all about
this happened.
Yeah, it's all about content. It's all about keeping it going viral. You have to keep creating new ideas to capture the audience. When it comes to video, if you don't have your audience in the first 18 seconds, they're gone.
Right.
Okay, and that's what they say about video. If you have a 60-second video, 18 seconds for you, better deliver some good content or you're going to lose your audience.
Right.
So for me, I'm always trying to think of something unique, something different, captures the audience, screenshot of something super unique. They're going to watch that 60-second video.
So all of this is not just to show the world how good you are. It's how much business do you get off your social media?
Last year, so I track a lot of my numbers. Last year, I did over 100 deals, MLS, off-market, new construction. I did 108 deals last year. 42 of those deals came off of Facebook or Instagram.
No kidding.
If you were to figure that out in terms of an income, it's fairly decent.
Yeah.
That is just organic growth through Instagram or Facebook.
So 40% of your business was from social media
last year,
online leads.
I would say last year the online industry as a whole exploded.
Yeah,
through Instagram, through Facebook, that sort of thing, videos, and I ran with it. I kept going with it. I kept delivering good content. I kept my audience there. I would post regularly, and I would post things that people would enjoy watching. Right. My personal life on there's a little bit of personal life, but in terms of what I do behind the scenes, I keep that fairly private.
Yeah.
And I like to be sort of a private guy with my private life.
Right.
But for my business, I'm all out there. You get to see me every second of the day, what I'm doing from morning to night. And I love showing the process.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's, and it's authentic too, because the amount that you post, I mean, there's not a lot of time for editing. Just shoot it and post it.
Just shoot it and post it.
That's it, right?
Yeah, shoot it and post it. The more times you're in front of the camera, the easier it'll get. So if you're wondering out there, I know a lot of you are sitting listening thinking, I should really do video. Do it. Because the earlier you start it, the better your videos are going to be in a few months.
Right.
It's just better with time.
It's just like anything. You have to practice.
Better with time. And people, they accept being real. They accept and watching and listening to somebody being real. When you don't script something, it's so much better.
Right.
It's so much better. I find that with video.
Right. So you did 104 deals.
108 last year. And yeah, over 40%.
Let's talk about how you structure your work and your business. 108 deals is a lot. Many people might think like, wow, he's out there doing his, you're seeing Ty, but he must have an army of people behind him.
Last year, I'm not going to lie, I did burn out a little bit. Okay, that was a lot of work on my own. I have since hired a full-time person, Diane. She works behind the scenes with me and does absolutely all of the conveyance, all of the paperwork, all the back end, all the follow-up, the leads, showing settings. She does all that stuff. Now, could I use another guy full-time? I could.
Right.
I could. But I'm all about personal service.
Right.
I find that bread and butter is between 12 to 20 listings, and don't get any more than that. And you can give and just give everybody absolutely full service.
Wow.
Yeah.
So one man show, 108 deals.
Well, Dad was there.
Dad's
a few keys, but
with Dad,
he was there helping out. I'm not going to leave Dad out of the picture. Dad was there helping here and there, but yeah, it was a busy year. I'm so grateful to work with such amazing people that refer my name. I'm humbled. I'm absolutely humbled to be able to do that kind of business.
I mean, it's very healthy business, but you're right. It's not sustainable for your own health.
No, it's not. And I think for 2018, I realized 2017, I hit a certain number that I've always wanted to hit. I've always wanted to do 100 deals in a year. I did that. So 2018, I decided that balance is my 2018 goal. For you guys out there that do work day in and day out, balance is really the key to life.
Right.
It is balance. If you can find that perfect work balance with a perfect health balance and perfect family balance, that is life. Wow.
So, we're not going to talk too much about your personal life. I know you're very private, but you somehow managed to be in a relationship.
Yes.
During this time of 108 deals.
I'm in a relationship with a great person. She's very, very supportive. She's also a realtor as well.
Right.
So I get to come home and talk real estate and go to work. But we do have a great private life. And
that's great. Yeah.
We enjoy each other's company.
And she gets it.
She totally gets it.
And she supports it. That's so important, right?
So important.
Yeah. So what are your aspirations moving forward? Because you hit 108 deals. Now you're finding balance. When you've created that balance, now what? What's next for Ty?
Nick, I think I will move more towards helping people relieve some of the pressures of the work day in and day out. Some of the small things. It's really hard to do a lot of the small things yourself.
Right.
Delivering flyers and putting up signage, things like that, which I love to do myself. I simply just can't do all of it. So I will bring on somebody to help me, relieve some of that pressure, of course. And moving forward, still just perfecting the balance of my life, doing a lot of reading, taking a lot of time for myself as well, and just enjoying it, because life is really short and we need to take time out and enjoy it. Right. I
agree. Yeah, I absolutely agree. You have to have, maybe being a hypocrite, but you have to make some time for yourself. But you know what? But you love your job. It's not even a job. It's part of your life.
I do. And that's one thing. I wake up and I love what I do. So
And you can't wait to do it.
So I can't wait to do it. I can't wait to help somebody out. When you go to phone somebody up and say, we got the house, we got the deal, or your house is sold, subject removed, I mean, it's a great feeling. Because those people have been waiting for that call for so long. And I feel like I'm with them the whole way.
Right.
And so these little relationships that I develop for the 7 to 10 to 30 days that each person has, it's definitely an addiction. You know,
Right.
I love helping these people and the whole process.
Right. Wow. Wow. That's great to hear. It's refreshing to hear as well.
I think I will get into coaching eventually.
Yeah.
I think I'll get into coaching. I can see myself developing into that. So probably within the next 5 years, I'll get into coaching. I'll be releasing coaching videos, lead generation videos. I found effective ways to make it work, and I would love to sort of share that story with everybody. So
yeah, I think that would be very helpful for definitely our listeners, because the listeners that listen to Real Talks are looking for nuggets of, you know, of answers of what to do. Because when you enter into this business, you know, you must get a lot of messages. I get a lot of messages. I'm a new realtor. What do I do? And it's frustrating because that's a scary place to be. And I was in that position. And I'm sure you were in that position at some point as well.
Everybody starts somewhere.
Exactly. And what do you say to these people when they message you? Like, what do you know?
I think what you have to remember is that you're not just going to start and do 100 deals.
Right.
Okay. It does take time. And what you have to do is you have to structure it where your core sphere that's around your life are the most important people that you're ever going to deal with when you start out.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really have any past clients. You don't have past sales. So you want to get the 50 people that are closest in your life, and you just want to bombard them with information and what you're doing and how much passion you have for your work.
Right.
That sphere will just grow. Your network will grow. And from there, it'll just branch right out.
So in your opinion, what's a cost-effective way? Because new realtors do not have a lot of money. What's a cost-effective way of doing that?
So what I did when I first started is, like I said, I started working buildings with high turnover. So I picked 3 or 4 buildings with high turnover, and I would flyer those buildings. And they would get a flyer from me every 10 days. There were 62 units per building. Everybody got a stamped letter from me. At the time when stamps were 50 cents, that wasn't too bad, right? That was $35 out the door, a letter about myself, maybe about a past sale in the area, and I would keep that consistent every 10 days. That is a relatively low cost for the effectiveness of that letter coming through their door with a signed letter and a card, always personally sign it. That is powerful, and that works. I guarantee you that works.
To personalize, that's right. People will always open up a personalized envelope. Always. You don't get that too often now. Junk mail or ad mail is always printed, right? And I mean, and it's exciting to see something personal in the mail. You will read it.
You will read it. And for out there, if you guys want to think of another little idea, another little tip, if you don't do birthday cards, this year alone, 14 deals off birthday cards. Okay, 14 deals from a birthday card.
Wow.
Every single person I meet, their birthday is tracked. They get a personalized birthday card signed by me with a little note in it every year. That is the most important thing you could ever do for somebody because nobody sends them anymore. It's too expensive for postage. So I'm the only guy coming through the door with a mailed birthday card.
Wow. Incredible. So 14 ends?
14 ends this year off of strictly from a birthday card.
Wow. That's great advice. That's great advice. And people remember personal touches because it's effort.
Effort, Nick.
Effort. That's right. So going back to real quick, I just want to 13 to 19. You were an entrepreneur, obviously, because you're cutting lawns, and I want to sort of pick that brain because you are an innovator and a go-getter. What did you do? You didn't go to university, did you?
No, went to college for about a year and a half of marketing, and I thought, well, I like marketing, but I'm going to take this to real estate and just go right into real estate. That was it.
Yeah, and you always had a mindset of so you're cutting lawns. Did you do anything else in your teens?
Cutting lawns, worked for Pattison Signs. I put billboards all around Vancouver. So that's what I used to do. Driving around, putting up billboards. I did that right until I was 19 and 16 to 19. That was a fun job, but you know what? An hourly rate for me wasn't for me.
No, it doesn't drive you.
No, it doesn't drive me to have the same consistent thing every single 2 weeks.
So you are a natural marketing guy. Like if you were going to be a natural athlete, you'd be a natural marketing guy. That's what wakes you up. Innovation. Like, now it makes sense.
It's extremely hard to wake up every day and chase a paycheck. For me, it's never been a problem.
Never been a problem.
Because one piece of advice that my dad taught me, most important piece, I think I'll never forget it. If you never think about the money, the business will always come. Okay? If you put money always ahead of the game, nothing's going to come your way.
Right.
Never think about the money, always think about the personal service. When you give 110% to each client, business will come.
And that's all about your intention. If your intention is just to make a buck,
people will see through you. They'll see that you're a sales guy. They'll see you're pushy. Nothing's worse than that.
Yeah.
Everybody has to agree, nothing is worse than a pushy salesman.
Oh, absolutely.
So if you just let people make their own decision and you take a step back and give them options, the business will come.
Take that in. That is a nugget out of this interview. That is pure class and genius. So write that down, new realtors, because it's very easy, especially with all the media, television shows, the commissions, and the numbers, to think that you're going to make a lot of money in this business fast. You could, but if that's your top of mind, you will not do it.
That's a real piece to take away, guys. You always think about the service, right? If you're just out there and you're going to talk about how much money that you're going to make, you're going to get crushed.
Right.
Okay? But if you step back, if you let people make more choices on their own, it'll come to you.
Right. And did you have any low points in your career?
2008, our economy, of course, 10 years ago,
right,
took a changed a lot. When you go from consistent monthly deals to pulling back and having nothing for 5.5 months,
wow,
that drastically affects your thought process on the business. That's what had happened in 2000, 2008, 2007 when the market changed. I went 5.5 months without a deal.
No.
So I was also taught from starting the business that you should always have 6 months worth of income in the bank. Always, no matter what. Always put money away, because when you do a deal, 90 days down the road is when you get paid. So always put 6 months away in case something like that happens. And luckily, I am very reserved about that. And I was okay through that. But 5.5 months, by the time I hit the 5th month there, it was upsetting. It was very frustrating. You're banging your head against the wall. I'm doing the exact same things I was doing a year ago that were producing results.
Right.
And when you're not getting any results, it is very frustrating. That was a very low part of my career. Not doing any business for 5 months, not feel like I'm providing at home. It was a tough time.
Wow. But
market eventually came back.
But absolutely, and it came up really well, but probably taught you some very good habits moving forward.
Always. Fantastic habits. I mean, you have to go through those lows to learn how to get through it, right? It's not going to all be highs, especially in this business.
Yeah.
Prepare yourself.
It's manic. Yeah. It's a bit manic.
It is.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's fun. Yeah. It's not boring. So as we wrap up here, I'd like to ask everybody who I interview one question. And that question is, what single piece of advice would you give your younger self on day one of starting your business in real estate?
That's a really good question, Nick. I haven't had a lot of chance to think about that. At 19, in terms of where would I be with my business, I never thought any clue that I would be where I am today. All I know is that I had to keep my attitude positive. I had to wake up with a fire. I had to be positive all the time. Being humble in this day and age, it cannot be more important. I mean, for me, anybody that knows me, humbleism and being humble is a huge takeaway in business. People can see that through somebody. You will get twice as much business if you're authentic, genuine, and humble. And at a young age, I always kept that mentality. I kept that thought process. I'm never going to show off what I earn, what I buy. I'm going to keep it private. And for me, that's just who I am. Wow.
Very powerful. So tell everybody where they can find you online.
You guys want to follow me at Sold by Ty on Instagram? Follow me on there. Dan and Ty Corsie on Facebook. Instagram is a huge platform that I use. You can see all my video links on there. It's something I use daily, so follow me on there.
That's great, and I'm going to be posting his social media links on the bio of this blog post, so you'll be able to see that. I would suggest following Ty. It's fun. It's sort of a fly on the wall type approach to his business. You're going to learn a lot. It's educational, and you're going to see what it takes to be a successful realtor in this market and how to innovate. So, if you can take any bits and pieces from Ty's business.
Remember one thing, guys, you don't have to work with a huge brokerage to get huge business. My firm is the smallest firm in the entire Fraser Valley. There's 3 people at my firm. I have proven that you don't need the big name to get big business. It's all about the brand. It's all about the person. Remember that.
Amazing. Thanks, Ty, so much for being on episode 8 here at Real Talks. It's been an absolute honor to have you here. So
thanks for having me on, Nick.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Bye, guys.